All right, now we got to talk about my tribal chief, Roman Reigns, because this was a not just an important match on the card, but an important match for his character. No, I think this match to me, I'm surprised it kind of opened up the show or opened up the entire event, right? But it was pretty cool. I think, of course, you got Jey Uso working the crowd there, so that's going to help kind of start the show off. But I think the big story in this match with Jey and Roman and Bronson and Breakker, or Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, is to me, this it's so ironic. Like Roman is always the headline of the storyline he's in. You know what I mean? Like, yes, this was a match where Bron Breakker could, be on the big stage, Bronson Reed be on the big stage, Jay's there, big stage, but like I think the biggest takeaway, especially from how Roman like performed, like he was fucking putting his body on the line. He damn near missed both Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker there. Like he overshot it a little bit. It's almost like he had too much hops there. But it's those Air Jordans he's wearing there, right? It's those white those sick white boots he's got. But no, I think to me the big story of the match was this was a bit of a character building match, if that makes sense. Like, and I only kind of got to this point after thinking about this, and it's kind of cool if you think about how like intentional Roman is with his character, or Joe is NOI is intentional with his character of Roman Reigns and the bloodline and the tribal chief. Like, I'm starting to pick up on this note of like, okay, like he has become the fallen tribal chief, right? And no title, no bloodline, right? And now he's slowly building the pieces back together. But instead of becoming the tribal chief that he used to be, where he's like, treating Jay badly, treating Jimmy badly, snapping his fingers and getting, Paul Heyman there and Solo is there. And he's just like delegating orders, and he's kind of like, he's retreating. And of course he's a heel, but just in terms of the character building, now it's like, he's becoming this redemptive tribal chief, and he's becoming this, okay, he's going to be a leader, right? Now he's really going to be a true tribal chief. He's going to be a leader. He's going to sacrifice himself for his family, for his bloodline. And it's interesting because he doesn't do it for anybody else. He won't sacrifice himself really for like CM Punk or LA Knight during Raw. But when it's his bloodline, he'll sacrifice himself for them. And now it starts to get the gears flowing a little bit of, okay, he's going to revamp like that bloodline story, and who knows, maybe The Rock, Roman, bloodline, Civil War, you never know. But just at least for now, there's this, like, I think deep in my mind, and maybe I'm reading too far into it because it's just, pro wrestling, but like there is this cool story and narrative that's being built with Roman, and just the nuance of that's why I think he's so good at the nuance of his character is like, hey, I'm going to put my body on the line now. And it starts to tell the story of like, okay, like it's a redemptive arc, and him being able to be that kind of leader and tribal chief is a really interesting and compelling story to now tell. And now you have a long runway to tell with that story, because right, like Solo brought in all his what is it, like MTFs or whatever it is, like whatever he called it, his Tonga, all the Tongas, right? Tongaloa, Tamatonga, or whoever, like, I don't know. I can't even keep up with how many Tongas there are. But, like, now there's that story cooking in SmackDown, and all you need to do is just have, trains collide a little bit, and worlds collide, and all of a sudden you're going to get a Bloodline Civil War, maybe Survivor Series, you never know. But, yeah, so I think that was pretty cool. I think this match for me, the biggest story I took out of this match was Roman's, like, character change, right? Like not necessarily he becomes a babyface heel. It's just like his character evolves from being a babyface, but he becomes more of this like, I will sacrifice myself for my family. There's layers to his character now, and that evolution of his character has become the new story to tell, and where he can go from that, right? So that's pretty cool. And because, he takes a spear for Jay instead of manipulating him over the years and things like that. He sacrifices himself, and then he lets Jay get the win. And, there are multiple times in that match where he pushed Jay out of the way. That's a massive story point, right? That's a massive story point, especially coming off watching the show Unreal. I'm pretty sure they think about that shit, right? I'm pretty sure like, hey, like we got to make sure people know that Roman put his body on the line. And Triple H even emphasized it on the post show. He's like, hey, Roman's a guy now that puts his body on the line for his family and people he cares about. Not selfish anymore. You know, it's like, it's pretty interesting. So it's almost like, it's like an earned acknowledgement. It used to be like, I need you to acknowledge me. Now it's like an earned level of, hey, you know, OTC, tribal chief, all this stuff is now earned because he is becoming that leader, right? So that's kind of cool. I think overall the match was a really great way to start the show. I thought that, you know, having Jey pump up the crowd, like I said, was really good. And honestly, I think like, you know, I gotta give props to Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. Honestly, I think for me, I think Breakker is a little further along in terms of just like, okay, getting the you know, not maybe popularity, but just like that main event like marquee spot I could see him in. I think Bron Breakker's there. I think Bronson Reed is becoming. Here's the thing for me, like Bronson Reed, I was watching an interview with him with Chris Van Vliet. Like he's such a cool dude. Like, I think that's what's interesting is like he is a cool dude that like I definitely am rooting for him to do well in his spot. And I think he's just on his way there. You know, I think like he for me he evolved from being the guy that he's just gonna tsunami someone, he's gonna go off the top rope and you know take someone out. You know, especially when he did that to Seth like I don't know 5 times or whatever. But I think now you're starting to see like okay, you know he has a bully persona. He's aligned himself with Paul Heyman. He's in the main event picture, at least with main event stars. He can learn from them. And then Bron Breakker, I just think with Bron's promos, it's like a little forced sometimes. I feel like where he tried to copy Roman Reigns' thing. It's like he's trying to mock him. But I thought he had a funny moment where he was like singing. He was singing along in the crowd chant. So it's like I definitely love how he's trying new shit. Right? You gotta. I think that's so big when it comes to trying to find your character. Find like what is this character of Bron Breakker, and he's trying new stuff. And I think that, if anything, is the best part about that side of him, of you know, of him as a wrestler, as him as trying to get better as a character, is he's trying stuff, right? Because he's not just going to sit back and do the same thing over and over again. I feel like he's really trying to evolve his character because, you know, eventually down the line, I just think people know that he's going to be a main event guy, that he has to have, you know, depth and more dimension to his character as opposed to just being the guy who's going to come in and spear the shit out of you. And, but yeah, overall, like, I think this match, I feel like did what it needed to do in terms of the storytelling with Roman, just adding that layer of depth of the kind of leader he's now evolving to become. Right now, he's becoming a leader in the sense of like, hey, like he was the tribal chief, and he would delegate shit, and he would tell Jimmy and Jey and Paul to do this. And like I said a while ago, right, like now it's this earned level of leadership. And I think with Jey in this match, you know, credit to him too, right? From a physicality standpoint, he definitely did a great job. That table spot, like he was able to, you know, get pretty physical on the outside there. But I thought overall this match did what it needed to do, where Roman was able to be in the match, but also not have to be in an entire long, you know, like match that would take a toll on his body, and him filming stuff and things like that. I think it gave us exactly what it needed to kind of move the story along. And yeah, overall, I really thought it was a solid match. I really liked it. I thought the big story, again, like I've been saying, is Roman's character arc here. And you know, you add in just like Jey and like him being able to also hold his own here in this like opening show main event picture, being able to like have that same level of pop. I mean, you know, honestly, he had a big pop from the crowd, and a lot of stuff that he was doing was just awesome. It was solid. I really enjoyed. Everyone did a good job in this match. Even like I think Bronson Reed deserves a lot of credit in this match. You know, I think he was able to really come across as a big threat here, and being in the ring with Roman, right? Like that's like he has presence. Like Bronson Reed has presence in the ring against Roman. So overall, I just thought it was a good match. Bron Breakker, he's going to be a main event guy for sure. You know, working with Paul Heyman. So like overall, this was just such a good opener. I think they did a great job with this, like good opener to start off the show. And yeah, I just think that for me, my takeaway was that this was a big storytelling moment or story building moment for Roman Reigns' character. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool thing they did there. Test. All right, so this match, man. I mean, Cody and Cena, SummerSlam. I wish this was the match that happened at Mania because I was at Mania, and to be honest, I thought that match sucked especially compared to this one. And this was one of the best matches I think that both of the guys have been in, and it wasn't just like just the moves. I think like definitely the moves. Like the match had really good action from both sides from the guys and stuff like that. But I just think that there was a lot of storytelling in the match there that I thought was really good. Especially it did what it definitely needed to do in terms of tell the story of Cody. You know, like it's a street fight, so he's got to bend the rules a little bit. It brings out that side of him, and he wasn't full-blown heel, although as he would call it, because of MetLife in New York, everyone was cheering Cena. This was a bit of an away game for him, but I thought that he showed that side of his character that said, okay, when it's time to, really fuck you up, he's going to do it, and he wasn't going to hold back anymore. And I think it's that character, that part of it for me, like, when Cody was against Roman, like, clearly I'm a Roman fan. I was cheering for Roman. I'm a big fan of Rock. So like, I was always on that side because I always felt like Cody was getting to the point where he's too much of a white meat babyface, as they would say, right? He was a little bit too much for me, just like, oh, he never breaks the rules and he'll always win by like never, getting his hands dirty. And I just feel like even if you go back to Cody and, when he went to his like AEW days, and I, didn't really watch him too much there, but I watched enough to kind of, get a sense of his character. It's like when he's like not afraid to kind of be an asshole a little bit, I think that's where Cody has that sweet spot of just like, oh, he's a face still, but he's gonna punch you, and he's gonna like use the use the ring pipe or whatever, use the chair, and it's a street fight because he's gonna do it, or he needs to do it in a street fight to kind of get himself ahead in the match or whatever. I thought it needed that. I just thought his character needed that. I thought the match needed that, and I just really liked it. And then on Cena's side of it, right, like him being a babyface, and I just really liked, that pop when he comes out. At first, it's all black and white, and you're thinking, like maybe he's still heel. He'll walk to the ring, or maybe if he is a babyface, he'll be this like confused, like, all right, unsure of whether or not he's gonna be completely a face. But when he comes out and that Titatron like changes colors and he becomes like the old Cena, that was awesome. We like he's back and he's doing. He's doing what I think, again, what I want him to do from the beginning, which was be the classic babyface Cena. Play the hits, right? Just play the hits. It'll be great. It'll be fun. Everyone's going to love it. And what I really liked about this too was like, we got to see it was a classic, well, not classic. It was just a really good storytelling of best versus best. It wasn't like they needed to add some kind of like spin on it, right? And I wish that they kind of went to that thing sooner. I know, again, Cena turning heel, that's a whole ordeal of just like they just pivoted away from that right away. And I thought that this could have just been, right, like current face of the company versus the greatest of all time, and the like the past 20 years, like the face of the company of the past 20 years, passing the torch along to someone like Cody. I feel like that was enough from the beginning, from the jump, for that to have happened at Mania. And I guess you had to wait till now to do it. But, I feel like what I liked about this match was it didn't feel like this match was just, Cena just has to put Cody over, right? This wasn't just, put him over match. Hey, Cena will kind of like do the honors, which I kind of felt like Cena did when he was facing Theory at Mania. I don't know, a couple of years back or whatever, when Cena lost. I felt like that was a match where Cena was just like, hey, like, I'm here to put you over, kid. You better be able to take the ball and run with it. But this one really felt like you could tell Cena just really brought it, and he wanted to still be, Cena and be who he was. And I love the moments. It was so funny, right? Growing up in the era of John Cena and ruthless aggression, all that, like, there was a moment where the crowd was chanting Super Cena. And it's so funny because like over the years, that's what like people my age, they hated about Cena. They hated that, he would never lose. He's Super Cena. He's always going to come back and win the match. And now it's so ironic, like so many years later, it's like, like now we cheer for that. We want Cena to come back in this match and not lose. We want him to to retain the title against Cody and things like that. So it was just a classic like homage to Cena and just what he's meant for fans like me over the years, who's watched him during, especially from the Ruthless Aggression era up until now. And it was like classic, as Michael Cole would say, vintage Cena, right? It was classic vintage Cena, and like you could just tell the crowd was all in on him, and like even the you can't see me, the 5-knuckle shuffle, all that stuff. The crowd was just so like they were hot, like they were good. It was a great crowd, and I'm glad that that we got to see that, and Cena was able to get that from the crowd in this final SummerSlam, and especially with this kind of match. I think this is what everyone wanted. Again, from WrestleMania, everyone wanted this kind of match. So, I think this was just such a great storytelling match. I think I was surprised, honestly, again, well, given the fact that Brock returned. So, of course, that's going to, trail into Cena versus Brock. But, like, I thought Cena would still win. That's what I thought, because I thought Cody's going to be filming a movie, I bet, with, Street Fighter. And then, like, Cena would still be a champion, and he could, have his farewell run. And I thought he would drop the title in his, like, final match, or one of his final matches, as he heads into December. And so I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised that Cena lost this one. But again, if you think about Cody, and who knows what Cody's going to do next. So I think, the next step for Cody is probably like he needs it's important for Cody to have the title for whoever they have him going up against next. We'll find out, soon, as the time I'm recording this. But I think that Cena, like, losing has that, it almost feels like that babyface quality, right? Like, oh, he's like, he has to win. He comes up a little short against the guy who's going to take on, the mantle. Who's going to take the mantle into the next generation. Same thing when, Rock won it from Hogan, when Cena won it from The Rock on the second one. And, you have this passing of the torch a little bit. So I thought it was, again, I just thought it was the whole match was so fun. I really enjoyed everything about it. And, again, I'm still a little bitter because this match should have been, I was at Mania, me and my brother were at WrestleMania, and we were expecting this match at Mania. Instead, we got, fucking Travis Scott. But whatever. It's fine. We'll deal with it. It's fine. I'll go to next year's Mania. But next year's Mania better be good. I'm back at Vegas. We're back in Vegas. We're back exactly the same. Allegiant Stadium. They better do it right. It better be good. But no, I think this match with Cena was awesome, right? I feel like the way that the story between the two, and they basically put a button on it on the end with, the handshake or the hug at the end. And I thought it was storytelling, which was pretty good, because the hug at the end was like reminiscent of the hug at Elimination Chamber, where Cena would kick Cody in the balls. But this time around, they actually gave a legit hug, and they had some, I think, nice things to say about each other at the end. And it was basically passing the torch, right? Passing the torch. Cena saying, hey, carry it now, carry the ball now forward. And I think Cody's going to do a good job. But again, a good match between Cody and Cena there. So Brock is back, and man, I cannot lie to you, I was fucking fired up when I heard that music. All right, I mean, I know like a lot of shit's going on, but I gotta say, I'm a big Brock fan. I'm an Attitude Era fan. I grew up with the Ruthless Aggression era, and I didn't know if we were gonna get him back at all ever. Right? I mean, I think there was always a chance. I felt like maybe, especially when they kept kind of like name dropping him a few like times over the year and stuff like that, over the past 2 years or whatever. And then you would get like, and then the announcement came when SummerSlam was going to be held in Minneapolis, and I kind of started to wonder, like, all right, Minneapolis, SummerSlam, Brock is kind of like Mr. SummerSlam, so I did kind of start to wonder, like, maybe, there's a chance he could come back, and I always felt like there was a chance he could come back, but I was just thinking how, right? How would he come back? And, I didn't really occur to me that, like, it would be on Cena's farewell tour, and so, when Cena was walking out, I think, for me, once the match ended, and then you felt, all right, Cody's in the ring. He gives Cena the ring, final SummerSlam for Cena, and Cena's there, and he's kind of walking out, right? And there's just this buzz. I was like, okay, The Rock would come out, maybe. You're thinking who could come out, And then when that hits, when Lesnar's music hits, man, it was absolutely electric. And it's just one of those moments that, like, I was just like texting my brother, just like as that's all playing out, and it was wild. Like you always love seeing those kind of moments, those returns, like when Brock, like all the times Brock Lesnar comes back and that guitar riff hits, it's epic. It is so fun to watch. Because I just think, like, again, SummerSlam is Brock's show, right? I feel like he always has big moments at SummerSlam. You go back to 2002, beats The Rock. I watched that one, by the way. That's how old I am. But he's the youngest champion there ever. 2021, he comes back against Roman after Roman beats Cena. The match he had with Taker at SummerSlam, that was insane. The match he had with Roman in 2022, that last man standing match where he comes out on a fucking trailer or whatever, tractor, and like he just lifts the ring up. That's a crazy one. So I think Brock and SummerSlam are basically intertwined together. That's why I think it makes so much sense for Brock to be like retiring this final year at Minneapolis SummerSlam next year. That's kind of like my take on what's going to happen. Is it's in Minneapolis for his home state, for him to retire in his home state. And I just think that, like, just him coming back the way he did, really, especially now with like WWE partnering with ESPN, TKO, UFC, WWE, like Brock he's just in that world, right? Like the most legitimate athlete on the WWE roster. So, it was awesome. I mean, like I'm a Brock fan, so it's just one of those where I loved it. And I think a lot of people, for the most part, you talk about just in terms of in the business, right? I think everyone was pumped up. I think the fans were pumped up, and you're always going to get, critics and people saying what they want to say. But it is what it is, right? But I think that for me, with this kind of farewell tour, if it's Brock's final year, I don't think it's going to be like Cena, where he's going to be doing as many appearances, but I think you have, like big matches. You have like the marquee matches, the marquee events, like certain moments where it would be good to have Brock in there. I think that would be really cool, leading up till his final match in Minneapolis at SummerSlam next year. That would be just my take on how it would go. He would definitely do a bunch of, like the Manias. He would do probably the Crown Jewel. He would probably do the Paris one. We'll see. Actually, I don't know. I mean, those ones go right back to back. So, we'll see. But it's really fun to have that, because when you bring Brock back to the roster, right? Now it's like, okay. I mean, if you start with Cena too, right? Like Cena and Brock go way back. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you look at just the history of Cena and Brock from the OVW days, right? That draft class, that epic draft class we had, I think it was Cena, Brock, Batista, Randy Orton. I think I might be missing people, but I think that's basically a large majority of the standouts from that draft class. Shelton Benjamin, I think, right? He was there too. But there's so much history there with Cena and Brock, and over the years they've kind of really, battled it out and have done a large amount of the, a large amount of their feuds and things like that over the years. And it's just going to be so cool for Cena's final run here to go against Brock. It's only fitting, right? He goes against Randy Orton. He goes against CM Punk. He goes against a lot of, Cody now, who's like the next torch. He passes the torch to Cody, right? But you have to revisit that Cena versus Brock rivalry, because there's just so much history there with them too. It's really cool. And who knows, right? I think with Brock back, does that invite matchups like Brock versus Gunther, Brock versus Braun, Brock versus Bronson Reed? Does Roman kind of get back in? I don't know if there's any more meat in the bone for Roman and Brock. I mean, I think Roman and Brock is always fun. It's almost like the thing you can always go back to, right? Almost like I don't know, Austin, Rock, Taker, Kane, that type of deal. Like there will always be a connection between the two, Seth and Roman. So I think those two, if need be, could happen. But I think I'm more excited to see, like, honestly, like if Brock and Cena, because I don't know who else on the horizon could be like Cena's like who else on the roster could Cena go up against for it to make sense, right? For the last 3 pay-per-views he's gonna do, or PLEs he's gonna do. What if, I don't know, and this could be a hot take, but what if you did Brock, Cena, 2 out of 3, right? You do, the Paris, Brock goes over, Australia, Cena goes over, and then in Survivor Series back in the States, it's that payoff match. And who knows who could win there? I think maybe Cena could win or Brock could win, but then, or Cena could win and Brock would get screwed out of it, and then that would kind of catapult him into another rivalry with somebody else. Who knows? But I think if they did 2 out of, or best out of 3, I would be all for it, right? I mean, I know maybe people wouldn't like that, and maybe too much of that rivalry 3 times is a lot actually, but I don't know. I think it would be good if played right, it could be done well. But I just think the presence of Brock back on the roster invites so many different things that could happen, and I just want to, I really want to see Brock one more time, and I think just having it happen at SummerSlam and the surprise of it all, and honestly, people want to say like, oh, they kind of saw it coming or whatever. I did not see this coming. I felt like it's possible, but I really didn't get my hopes up high with just everything going on. And also, like, I don't know, like it didn't seem like they were going to go that route. And when they did, oh man, it was awesome. I mean, I'm sorry, but it was awesome. I loved it. I'm so pumped for Brock to be back. And I'm so pumped that Cena's now a babyface. Get to see that kind of side of him come out, which is what I think everyone wanted to see. I wanted to see from the beginning. I didn't really want to see heel Cena. I understood it was, had a lot of clicks and things here and there, but I wanted to see babyface Cena, and now we're going to get it with Brock returning. We're going to get Brock coming back, and I just think Lesnar on the roster is so it's just so good for just, it elevates the talent now. It elevates the talent level. All right, whoever he's going to go up against after Cena, they're gonna get a big push here, I think, because you get that rub from Lesnar, and you look at what Lesnar did against Cody. You look at what Lesnar can do for Gunther. You look at Lesnar can do for Omos. I know Taker said that on his podcast. Imagine if Omos comes back and I know he lost to Lesnar in Mania for it was a pretty quick match or whatever, but just imagine if he comes back and he really uses it to kind of catapult himself forward. I think Lesnar and Gunther makes so much sense, as Gunther could be the next. I mean, no one's ever gonna be like Lesnar. No one's ever gonna replace what Brock can do and the presence Brock has. But I just think Gunther being the next big threat, not the next big thing, but the next big threat to people. You could kind of position him like that. But man, there's just so many possibilities for what can be done with Lesnar coming back. So honestly, so pumped up for it. I mean, if he comes back, he's jocked. He's just so huge. You would think he's massive. Like, this guy does not age. He comes back. Every time he comes back, this guy still looks fucking massive. So I don't know. I'm pretty pumped about it. It's going to be sick. I'm pretty pumped.